Hello, it's Kate Moon, and this is the first video I've made in probably this whole year of 2018. I have just traveled back from the Netherlands, where I've been for the last 7 months, and I finally have a quiet moment. It's taken that long. This is my room where all of, or most of, the videos that I had produced in the last 2 years has been made. Either this room or the one adjacent, my old studio. And I'm actually cleaning it out because I'm leaving for good. And so this will be the last video I make from this location. Lots of good memories, lots of interesting things here. This video is a little different. I've been feeling very stuck creatively and also grieving quite a lot. My grandmother died and her funeral's tomorrow. I also have a lot of other personal things going on that are all in the top 3 big stressors: moving, relationship changes, and death. So, on that happy note, I will be doing something a little different than I have before. I was in a bookstore last week with a friend of mine, looking at books, and we came across a few old tomes. And of course, I had to read some aloud because that's what I do. And she said, "Oh my God, you have to." It wasn't quite like that, but she said something like, "You should really be reading books on video for people." I would listen to that, and many of you have also said the same thing. So I was at my therapist's office, and I discussed this little event with him, and he gave me an assignment. And so this is my assignment, which is also a gift to you. This is me reading from Eline's dictionary. Eline's dictionary was a purchase I made because of how lovely they described their chocolates. Apparently, Eline's was a chocolate company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in the 1920s. Any of you who know Milwaukee will probably recognize this building, which is the chocolate factory. And apparently at some point, I don't know the history, but they gave out these little dictionaries, I'm assuming with chocolate, because there is some sort of adhesive still stuck to this little dictionary. And so I'm going to be reading, if I can get my voice to work, from the letter P. And here we go. P begins with the word pace, which means to measure by steps. Pachyderm, as the elephant. Pacifical, which means making peace. I like that one. Pacific, which means peacemaker, which is where I'm from. The Pacific Ocean is where I grew up. Pacify, which means to appease. Pack, a bundle, to load, or a set of cards. Package, a bundle. Packet, a small pack, a dispatch vessel. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I am so sorry. I've had a lung infection for quite some time, and now it seems my voice is going at the very moment I want to use it. Pact, a bargain or covenant. Pad, to stuff or a soft surface. Paddle, to row. Paddock, a frog or a small enclosure. I know paddock from horsing. Paddy, rice unhusked. Padrone, a proprietor, Italian employee, or an Italian employment agent. How cool is that? I think padrone is something like patron, which, if you would like, you can go to my Patreon and become my patron for videos like this and all kinds of art and music and things that I produce. That's patreon.com/KateMoon. KaitMoon. Don't forget. Where were we? Paean, a song of praise. Paganism, heathenism, I think I know a little of that. Page, a young attendant, or to number book pages, like the ones in this book. Pageant is a pompous show. Pageantry is just a show. Isn't that interesting? A pageant is a pompous show, but pageantry is just a show. Pagoda is an oriental temple. Pail, a bucket. Pains, care, trouble, or aches. Now that's interesting. Pains can mean care. He takes great pains. Paint is a coloring matter or to color. Painter, one who paints pair, two of a sort. Pajamas, sleeping suit of loose drawers and a jacket. Pal, an accomplice or a chum. Palace is a stately house. Paladin is a knight errant. Palanquin is an oriental litter. Palatable, pleasing to taste. Palate is an organ of taste. I have one of those. Palatial, like a palace. Palatine, a court dignitary. Palaver is idle talk. Pale is not ruddy, it's pallid or a stake or boundary. Interesting. Paleography of ancient writings. I'm for this. Paleontology, the science of fossil remains. My daughter's going to be a paleontologist, she says, so this is a particularly fine word for me. Paleozoic means a geological period. Pallet is a painter's board. Palfrey is a saddle horse. Paling is a fence or a picket. Palisade is a stockade. Palish, rather pale. Pall, covering for dead, or a gloomy mass. I could be Paul, couldn't I? I'm kind of a gloomy mass right now. Palladium, effectual protection, or a rare metal. Interesting. Pallas, a small planet. I didn't know a Pallas was a small planet, or perhaps that's the name of the planet. It is capitalized. Did I forget a planet? I think I might have forgotten a planet. I'm going to have to look that one up on Google later. Pallbearer, one who attends coffin at a funeral. Now that is a particularly applicable word this weekend. Pallet is a small or rude bed or a paddle-shaped tool. Palliate is to extenuate. Palliation is extenuation. Palliative is extenuating. There's a lot of extensions here. Pallid, wan, not bright. I'm sort of that. Pallor, paleness. I've got that one too. How many of these words could apply to you, I wonder? Palm is a tree or the inside of a hand. Palmetto is a species of palm, not a species of hands. Palmipped. Palmipped means web-footed. I can't demonstrate that because mine aren't webbed, sorry. Palmistry, telling of fortunes by lines on the hands. I wonder what mine say. Palm Sunday is the Sunday before Easter. Palmy is flourishing. Palpable, readily detected. Palpitate, to beat or throb. I know about that. My heart has palpitations. Speaking of which, palpitation is the next, or it means a throbbing. I have a throbbing in my heart. Palsied, diseased with palsy. Palsy is paralysis, so you're diseased with paralysis. I wonder how that works. Palter, to equivocate. Paltry means worthless or mean. Pampas, South American plains or plumy grass. I know, pampas grass. We know that, yeah? Pamper, to feed luxuriously. To feed luxuriously. Now that's changed, hasn't it? Because it doesn't just mean to feed, unless you consider being fed also nourishing or nurturing someone without eating, because pampering often in our culture now is something like yoga, or well, not yoga, but like massages and stuff. You're not really feeding someone. I mean, I guess you could be. Pamphlet is a small book. I think this one's a bit bigger than a small book. Pan is a shallow vessel. A panacea is a universal. It ran out of word. It just says rem. Oh, remedy. They did an interesting thing here about, they put it up on the line above it, because this thing is so damn small. Sorry, maybe that wasn't a word I should use. Where are we going? Pancreas, a gland discharging into the intestine. Pandect, a treatise. Pandemic, of a whole people. A pandemic is something of a whole people. That could be used many different ways. Pandemonium is an a riotous assemblage. Pandemonium. I'm familiar with that. Pander, to serve meanly, a minister to others' vices. Pain is a light of glass. Panegyric is a eulogy. Panegyrist is a eulogist. A panel is raised or sunken portion of ceiling, door, etc. A jurylist or a jury. Pang is extreme pain. I can relate to that word too. Panic is sudden fright. Pannier is a wicker basket. Panoply is a suit of armor or a splendid covering. A panorama is an entire view. A pansy is a garden flower. To pant is to gasp or breathe fast. Pantalette is a child's garment. Pantalette. Pantaloons are trousers. Pantheism. Pantheism is a doctrine that the universe is God. Now, how many of you would think pantheism means that now? Not to say it doesn't, just that it's interesting how words gain different meanings or like extra meaning. But I would have to say pantheism is something that I could probably get down with. A pantheist is a believer in the doctrine of pantheism. A pantheon is a temple at Rome. A panther is a wild animal. A pantograph is an instrument for copying drawings and pictures on a different scale. I need a pantograph. Anybody have a pantograph around? Pantomime is a representation in gesture. Pantry is a room for food. Pap is a nipple. A nipple? Pap. Who knew? Or soft food, like that's what I think of as pap. But apparently, in 1922, a pap was a nipple. Papacy is the papal authority. A papal is of the Pope. Paw is a tree and its fruit. Paper is a substance to write on. Paper mache is molded paper pulp. Molded paper pulp. Paper mache is molded paper pulp. Say that 3 times fast. Papillary is resembling nipples or pimples in construction. That's interesting. Maybe we should look up nipples because I think it might mean different things in 1922. Not just, So, papillary, resembling nipples or pimples in construction. I just said that. A papist is a Roman Catholic. A papoose is an Indian baby. That's not true. It's not an Indian baby. It's a carrier for a baby. And they weren't even Indian. The light of day has dawned in some ways, I have to say. Paprika is a red pepper. A papyrus is an Egyptian paper. Par, equality between the face and market values. Parable, a fable. Parabola, a conic section. Parachute, instrument to prevent rapid descent. I need one of those right now. Ooh. Paraclete means the Holy Spirit. Parade is ostentation or a march. Paradigm, an example. Paradise, a place of bliss. Paradisical, blissful. Paradox, an assertion apparently false, but true. Paraffin, a white waxy substance. Paragon, a perfect model. Paragraph, no T. Paragraph, distinct section of a discourse. Parallax, apparent displacement. Parallel, equally distant. Parallelism, being parallel. Parallelogram, quadrilateral figure whose opposite sides are equal. Paralysis, loss of motion. Paramount means superior. A paramour is an illicit lover. Paranoia is a form of insanity. Parapet is breastwork. Paraphernalia is equipments. Paraphrase is free rendition. Parasite, hanger-on or organism living on another. Parasol is sunshade. Parboil means to boil partially. Parboil, that makes sense, partially boiled. Parcel is a small bundle. Parcinaire is a joint air. Parch, to scorch or shrivel. Parchment, skin of an animal dressed to write on. Pardon, to forgive. Pardonable, excusable. Pare, to remove a surface, like in paring an apple. Paragoric, a medicine. I like that word, paragoric. Parent, father or mother. Parentage is birth. Parental, tender or affectionate. That's a really good way to put that, isn't it? Tender or affectionate means if you're going to be a parental person, that's your job. Parentheses, plural of parentheses. Parenthesis. Sorry. Parentheses is the plural of parenthesis. Parenthesis is a clause inserted in a sentence. Paresis is a partial paralysis. Parget is a plaster or gypsum. Parhelion is a mock sun. Pariah, an outcast. Parietal, designating the two chief cranial bones. Parietal lobes, you know. Paring is a cutting off. Parish, a district. Parishioner lives in a parish. Parity, equality or likeness. Park, a pleasure ground. Ooh, I like that. A pleasure ground. Parlance means discourse or talk. Parler is a conference. Parliament is a general council. Parliamentary, of the nature of parliament. Parlor, a drawing room. Parochial, of a parish. Parody, a parody is a travesty. It's a travesty! No! Oh well, maybe. Parole means by word of mouth. Parole is word of honor or to release on parole. Parotid, a gland below the ear. Parotid, I think it's parotid. Paroxysm means violent emotion. Parquet is a pit of a theater. A parquetry is inlaid woodwork. Parricidial, as to parricide. Parricide is a murder of a parent. Ooh. Parrot is a tropical bird. Parry is to turn aside. Parse, to analyze grammatically. Parsimonious is stingy. Parsimony is penuriousness. Parsley is a garden herb. Parsnips are a vegetable. A parson is a clergyman. A parsonage is a parson's house. I almost got a parsonage in the Netherlands, but I wasn't rich enough. It's a sad fact. Part is a side or duty to divide, to separate, or not all. Partake is to take part in. Parterre is flower beds. Partial, not entire. Partiality, undue bias. Partially, not justly, in part. Partible, divisible, or divisible. Participant is a sharer. To participate is to share. Participator is a sharer. Participle is of the nature of a participle. Participle is a verbal adjective or noun. Particle, a minute part. Particular, not general. Particularity, minute detail. Particularize, to pay attention to details. Particularly, especially. Partisan, adherent to party. Partition, a division. Partner, an associate. Partnership is a joint interest. Partridge is a game bird. Parturient is giving birth. Parturition is childbirth. Party is a faction or assembly. It's not a nice place to go. You know, there's a lot of P's here, and I think perhaps I've said enough for today. But if you like the P's I've already prattled on about, and you would like to hear more P's from me, from Eline's Dictionary, just make a comment in the comment section and or come to my Patreon and sign up, because I'm going to be posting this here for my patrons as well. Thank you to my friend Julie for giving me the suggestion and also helping me find this lovely book, which she would have stolen from me if I hadn't bought it for the $3 that it was being sold for. And thank you too to my therapist for giving me this wonderful assignment so that I could do something a little less sad today. And it has made me gladder. I hope it's made you a bit gladder too. And I hope to see you again soon here at Kait Boonarts, probably in another location, because I'll be going back to the Netherlands in a few days. So bye-bye house and beautiful things, some of which will go, others which will stay. And thank you to you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.